well. So I'm here today with the Daily Light Activations Oracle and getting back into the Oracle deck I've been making, Sovereign Vibrations. So I'm guided to work with the Starseed Oracle first, just to kind of get an overall energy and then go even deeper with the Sovereign Vibrations cards. I don't know how you guys are feeling today from if you saw those transmissions that came through the past couple days in connection to each other. It's definitely still been very potent in my energy field or for the upgrades I'm going through. So I'd love to hear how you guys are feeling or even what's going on in your life of upgrades or just experiences. But let's see what are the energies today? What do we need to know? We get the Seven Sisters. And this is birthing creation, tapestry of life, expression. And I believe this is actually connected to the Palladian energy. But let's read the description to double check and see what else comes through. The Seven Sisters, 100. There are new creations that want to be born, beauty that's yearning to be woven, new consciousness that's longing to be birthed into life. If you draw this card, you've been called to surrender to these creations, to usher in a new era of consciousness and do your bit in weaving the web of life. This is the card of the artist and the midwife. You're being called to ponder questions. What wants to be birthed through you? What new creations are whispering in your ear? What beauty are you being called to make? Creativity and intuition come from the same sacred place. They occur when we find ourselves flowing with the rest of life. Earth is renowned as a planet of manifestation and creativity, and yet so many of us have forgotten how to create. Somewhere along the way, we stopped seeing ourselves as artists, as creatives, as poets. Yet to be human is to be creative. Creativity is part of our true nature. Perhaps you're being called to surrender to a creative project, such as a new business or a book. Or perhaps you're being called to weave beauty in your home or in the way you cook. Regardless of the end result, you're being called to express yourself through your creativity, to surrender to the creative projects that both scare and excite you, to find a way to weave beauty back into your everyday life. For where there's creativity, spirit and soul are present, and the whole world needs those qualities more now than ever before. And the inquiry of this is, what new creations are you being called to birth? Beautiful. And I love how they're dancing around under the cosmos. So it's like this surrender of creation, of creativity. And I think that's sometimes how we have to go about what we're being guided to create. Sometimes we can't fully put all the pieces together. We just have to take one step at a time. And funny enough, that's how the book has been going for the cards, one step at a time. But it's also, again, just taking the leap of faith of knowing there's no wrong way to do things. We learn lessons. But I love it. I feel like this also taps into all this creative energy that's been coming through with the upgrades through the Arcturian codes and the Palladian codes of just feeling safe to express and be creative for the sake of creating. Ooh. Ooh. So we get forgiveness again, which I think has a big part in sometimes when we have creative blocks. We have to forgive the past. We have to see everything has had a purpose in our lives and our experiences. That, again, creation, there is no right or wrong, right? From an ego perspective, we could say there is, but from the universe's perspective of who we are, it all is part of the magic web of life. And the other two cards that came out was the Flower of Life. I love this card. Hopefully you guys can see okay. Ooh, I'm tossing stuff around. There we go. And the affirmation with this card, oh, and I'll go back to forgiveness. I popped through. I am one with the sacred geometry of the universe. I am surrounded by loving and sacred intelligence at all times. I am one with the sacred geometry of the universe. I am surrounded by loving and sacred intelligence at all times. And very much a part of this is the foundation of the flower of life is the geometry just within itself has all of creation's mathematical equations, you could say, connected into one space. And I think that's also too where we need to come back to nature, how it flows so effortlessly. And even with its chaos, with its organization, there is this beauty in the creative flow in the process. And coming back into the forgiveness statement for us is, I release with love, trusting the knowing that all has divine purpose. My heart is free and open. I release with love, trusting the knowing that all has divine purpose. My heart is free and open. And then the last card that came through is the Scorpio card. There's a little bit of a glare. Which I love that this came up with creation and forgiveness as well, and even the flower of life, because Scorpio energy is one of the darker water energies in the sense of the depths that we can reach with accessing the energy of Scorpio. And the affirmation is, I honor the darkest hidden aspects of my true self. I am whole and transforming. I honor the darkest hidden aspects of my true self. I am whole and transforming. And I'm getting strongly that when we can forgive what we used to reject about ourselves or even the world, maybe there's aspects that you cannot stand, that we live in this duality, right? But when we can forgive and integrate those really dark shadow aspects, that's also when we create from this beautiful sacred place of understanding the intelligence and purpose of it all, right? And it doesn't mean that you always have to be super happy all the time. The human process is, again, the natural flow of everything. But I'm hearing too specifically like the fact that we got the forgiveness card again, and it fell very strongly to the floor. Allowing yourself to kind of take a moment today, maybe if you feel inclined to or guided, and kind of see where things in the past where they felt really dense, where they felt hard to accept and I'm hearing even digest. Find where those pieces still are kind of in your frequency and see how you can integrate them, how you can forgive yourself or the situation, knowing that it all had a purpose. We become really strong and resilient when we face really deep contrast, right? And also we can't have one without the other. We have contrast of dark and contrast of light, so we can feel everything in between as well. But I'm hearing too, especially if you have Scorpio in your chart, even if you don't, I have a lot of water. I have complete water in my first 3 signs. But there is, again, this energy of accepting our vulnerability. When we create from our soul, from our passionate place, it takes a lot of courage through our vulnerability and knowing too that maybe we'll fuck up, maybe we'll mess up, maybe it won't go the way we planned, but even still, it's part of the process. Wow. Let's see if there's anything else coming forward. So I'm hearing really strongly, and maybe this already came through, but it's coming through again. When we can see that we already have all the tools, honestly. We have everything we need within our hearts, within our soul's remembrance, even if we may not fully understand on a logical state. when we can see the integration of our shadow self into the equation or the creative process that is supporting us, we then create things that people maybe never even expected to witness. And that, to me, is where the strongest power comes within our creativity, within just our frequency of energy, that we are tapping into these new ways of creation, new ways of expressing ourselves that may seem really uncomfortable at first, maybe a little weird, but yet they have so much potency and power. And I'm hearing too, like, if that is your message that's coming through, of integrating your shadow very deeply so that you can create, forgiveness is a big component into integrating our shadow. Because a lot of the times too, we've been told that these things that we need to hide or that are unacceptable in society, or even just how society is built, it's hard to forgive the fact that we grew up or grow up in conditioned environments and the lack and separation of love. The forgiveness can come through and wash over you so that you can create from a new slate of perspective, or even just a rejuvenated state of yourself. And I'm hearing to forgive yourself for not creating what you've already been wanting to create, if that's a message for you. But yeah, again, there's so much support right now with expansion, with all of us in our place, wherever we are on our journey. There's so much support in doing what really ignites you, what really makes you feel expansive. Even if you're scared, fear is usually a guiding light of where we also need to go, because the fear is the illusion, right? The shadow self telling us, like, it's too dangerous, it's too, well, I mean, follow your intuition if something is actually too dangerous for you to do. You know what I mean? But it's too unobtainable. It's all of these contrasting, even our negative self-talk can be our darkest shadow aspects. So again, take some time today if this resonates with you. And just kind of ponder things, look around and see, maybe even make a list. What is it that you're afraid of? What do you want to create? And where is this middle ground of alchemizing the fear into the creation? Or is the fear causing blocks, or is it actually causing you to move forward? And it's okay if you do have blocks and things are still kind of like trudging through sludge. I'm hearing that the more that you actually see from a new perspective of how to create freely, how to truly connect into your power and the power of forgiveness. And a lot of the times too, when I think of forgiveness, I think of unconditional love. I think of integrating all aspects, and again, the flower of life in that way of the expansion of our heart space. I'm getting very strongly. So also within this card too, it's very much, you can picture yourself in the center of this as well. And then just allow the intelligence of sacred geometry, of quantum physics, whatever you connect to, even if you connect to a specific religion, I'm hearing, it doesn't need to be just all metaphysical. Whatever feels super in alignment with you, allow that to come in to assist you. And know that you are limitless, you are a quantum creator, you are here to have fun and express in new ways, and you are supported. Yeah, awesome. All right, talk to you guys later.